Wars news. So the trailer for Force Awakens, the first one, was released on Black Friday. And I'd like to say some of my opinions about it. The first thing I'm going to touch on is the feeling the lightsaber gives me. First thing I thought when I saw it was that lightsaber looks a bit weird. It's a bit odd. Haven't really seen much like it. But when you really pay attention to the detail of the lightsaber, its blade, I really feel like it brings out the times that's going on now. Now, if we look at the expanded universe, though Disney is not basing the movie off of that, it makes complete sense that this is the kind of feel lightsaber is going to give you. It's a very dark time, or at least not as. At least it's darker than during the ages of Empire. Now, the new hope of the New Republic has formed during this time in the expanded universe. So, what I'm guessing we're going to see is a continuing war between the remnants of the Empire, because you had this massive empire. It's just not going to collapse and fall after a giant defeat. It's going to remain standing. Now, it's not always going to be one empire. It may be under multiple warlords or whatnot, but you have an empire still there, and that's why the stormtroopers are there. And the other thing we see in this trailer is updated stormtrooper armor, which honestly makes complete sense. It's been 35 years since the Battle of Endor, and technology has to evolve. That doesn't necessarily mean tech by itself, but that also means armor. If you're still fighting the New Republic, which in the expanded universe, constantly there were Imperials, whether it was this admiral or that admiral, or the Grand Admiral has rejoined everyone fighting, they're likely going to update armor, and that means styles have to update along with it in order for them to be more powerful and try to get the upper hand. So this really is a dark time, and what we're likely seeing in this movie, if I had to guess, is we're seeing the rise and fall of a new Sith Lord in these three movies against the New Republic, which is trying to build itself up, and likely Luke has formed a new Jedi Order that is facing a threat. And this new Sith likely came from the new Jedi Order Luke was trying to form. So it's a really dark time, as any new government often may face its darkest trials in the beginning. Now, you may say, in real life, the US is facing dark trials right now, but it was nothing like in our beginning. In our beginning, we faced the trials of slavery and whatnot. We are still a relatively new country. The oldest country in the world lasted for, I don't know, about 2,000 years, which would be the Roman Empire. But you have to remember again that I'm including the Byzantine Empire in that, because that was just a continuation. But in terms, the US is still relatively new, but the New Republic is likely facing its darkest trials during this point in time. So this is what the thing makes me see. Now, the next thing I paid attention to was the planets. I see 2 or 3 planets. I see one planet, that's a desert planet. In the picture you see here, I see X-wings flying over water with a mountain in the background, and then there was a winter planet with dead trees. So which planets connect each of those two? Obviously, I connect the desert planet to Tatooine, as Tatooine's planet has most often been seen in any Star Wars film. There's only a couple of films, well, actually, there's only one film Tatooine hasn't gotten any moment in of the major ones that anyone would think of, and that would be Empire Strikes Back. Tatooine was at least seen for a minute in each of the other Saga movies. It was seen in also the newest Star Wars animated Clone Wars movie that came out in '08. So that's likely what the desert planet is, and it makes complete sense as that's Luke's homeworld, and Luke may have gone back there to go through some trials, and then the ice plant. I have no idea what plant that is because I haven't had any experience seeing plants like that in the Star Wars universe. There are few ice plants I think of, and none of them include trees. I think of Hoth. Hoth was mountainous, but most of the ice plants I think of are all exactly the same. There's Rinvar from Star Wars Battlefront 2, and not 2, Battlefront, but that was never seen in any actual movies. And then there is the ice planet from a Star Wars Clone Wars episode where they had some trouble with some locals on the planet. But none of those planets included trees as far as we could see. So I have no idea what this planet is, but by the looks of it, this planet likely hosts the home or the residence of the Dark and Evil Lord, as that's where we saw him with his lightsaber pulled out, which honestly even furthers the extent of the darkness around this character. And the third planet, which is the one in the picture that was seen for least amount of time, is honestly I can barely tell. But if I'm correct about that being water there, this could be Naboo. But there are many planets it could be. The only planet I'm for sure, or I would have to have a pretty good guess that is in this movie, is Tatooine. Um, Other things we see are the Millennium Falcon and the X-wings. We don't see anything really the enemy other than stormtroopers and the Sith with the lightsaber. So, what do the X-wings and the Millennium Falcon show? X-wings, X-wings are known as the fighters of the rebellion, which means that the government that the rebels formed after the major falls to the empire, when the empire was weakened to the point where it's no longer one of the central governments or didn't have as much power in the galaxy, that they are still fighting, that there's still something going on between the empire and the rebellions or the new republic or whatever it's going to be called in the new movies, as these are the fighters of the new republic. In the old republic, it was the Jedis and the Y-wings. In the Confederacy, it was the in the Confederacy, it was the Droid Starfighters. In the Empire, it was the TIE Fighters. We're likely going to see some updated new version of the TIE Fighters. Whether they look exactly the same or not, that will depend, as the Empire likely has introduced some new technology, so maybe the TIE Fighter is different and stronger, as it wasn't very strong before. But we are likely still seeing the continuing fights between the falling empire or a newly rising empire that fell and had been falling apart is now recombining its forces against the good guys. That's what I get from the trailer, anyways. So, tell me your thoughts on the trailer. Tell me what you think. Tell me what my topic should be in the next Star Wars podcast episode, as is hard for me to determine which topic I want to talk about. I'm welcome to talk about things in the expanded universe. Let me know, and also let me know any possible topics for my other series, Star Wars Alternate History. If you want to comment about any of my other series that you'll want me to try to continue or whatnot, let me know. See you later. Minecraft Indiana out.